You're listening to Behind the Wheels with Doug Mason, Dave Walters, and Mike Yeagley. This is a show where we talk about heavy truck and medium-duty axle-ends. Doug, Dave, and Mike bring close to 100 years of experience and expertise in the transportation business. Join us once a month to learn new things about axle-ends. Sponsored by Alcoa Wheels, the global leader in aluminum wheel innovation.
Welcome to Behind the Wheels. I'm Mike Yeagley, and I'm here with Chuck Bartley, a legend in wheel technology maintenance. Chuck, thank you for joining us.
Good to be here, Mike.
So we all have war stories, right?
Oh yeah.
And you know, there's just sometimes it's just fun to go through some of the war stories. And I'm wondering if you have any great war stories to share. I know you do. You know, and here's the deal. You know, what I really want is something that, if you can tell us a story that would be helpful to our listeners, something that might teach them something that would be useful for them.
We'll go into the story, and then we'll basically tell you how to correct it.
Okay.
How about that?
Sounds good.
So we go into a place, and we're going to basically do training. And usually when I go in, I try to look around the place, get a feel for what they're up against, what they're doing before I even start.
Okay.
And lo and behold, they're still on ball seat wheels.
You know, we just talked about ball seat.
Did you? Okay.
It is a nightmare.
It is. But the worst story on this one was they were using anti-seize on the inner and outer cap nut all over the stud.
So why don't you, okay, go on.
So this is just, unbelievable when you see this.
Because anti-seize sort of fell out of favor in the industry, right? Obviously.
Yes.
So does everybody know when you say they used anti-seize? Does everybody know what you're talking about?
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm sure they do. But, I mean, look, anti-seize is very bad in the wheel end section.
Right.
Because anti-seize is a great product, does what it says, we want things seized, and we want to get a joint tight and stay tight. So we basically outlawed or tell them don't use anti-seize when they're mounting hub powdered or ball seat. Okay. But when you go into the ball seat section, you're not supposed to use any lubrication whatsoever.
Right.
At all.
Right, because everything's a friction surface there.
Yes. So, and there's a technicality, you can use a drop of oil, but then you got to drop the torque 100 foot-pounds.
Right.
To be correct, but we just say...
And if you put oil on, it's only on the stud.
It's only on the stud.
Right.
1 to 2 drops, that's it.
Right.
But we tell you, we really don't want you to do that. So during a training class or whatever, they just couldn't get over anti-seize. They used it for everything. They had just gallons of this stuff, and this is what they used. Okay. And I mean, it was goobed on bad, really bad. So I can't tell you the story of what we said, but they just couldn't get over you.
I'm sure there were expletives involved.
Yes, but you can't. How can you do this without this anti-seize? And then it was like, okay, if you're doing this on ball seat, let's go see the hub powdered section. What are you doing there? Same thing.
They covered everything with anti-seize.
The whole stud, everything, so it's behind the washer.
It almost seems like the wheel wouldn't stay on.
This is why they call it. Wasn't a hard one to figure out, Mike.
Right. Okay.
So the lesson basically is you've got to do the proper cleaning, the proper lubrication to achieve the proper torque.
Right.
That is just as simple as it can get.
Yeah.
But that's the most memorable I think I can remember doing a training class.
So let's say we have customers out there. Let's say that somebody's out there and they're using anti-seize or they're just using lubricant. You know, what do you tell them to fix it?
Well, we tell them...
we all want to use lubricant. I mean, we've had a lot of discussions on the podcast already about lubricant and the importance of using it and using it properly.
It has to be used properly. So basically, if you get too much or you end up getting the lubricant behind the face into the mounting joint or whatever, you're getting a false torque reading.
Right.
So now you're losing the clamping force. Clamping force, we lose wheels. Anti-seize is about 80% of anti-seize has copper in. Copper and aluminum don't mix well. So when you think you're helping yourself corrosion, you're actually creating more corrosion.
I didn't know that. That's something I didn't know.
Yeah, if you look at anti-seize, about 80% of it has copper in it somewhere.
From the engineering world, we tend to look, we say, okay, this is the specification. This is how life is supposed to work. Will it work properly? What are the specifications around that? When we tell somebody, we put a lot of study into what we tell them. We're not typically going to try things that we know aren't going to work. like anti-seize.
Right.
And I have to admit, I haven't studied anti-seize. I'm familiar with it, but I don't know what the chemical breakdown is. I don't know. I'm not an expert on anti-seize.
Right.
So I guess it sort of surprised me. It's got copper in there.
About 80% of anti-seize has a copper in it somewhere.
Okay.
Then with anti-seize, there's so many different lubricity levels that you couldn't get a consistent reading when you did clamp force.
Right.
So that's why we went to motor oil from TMC doing the studies. So we went to motor oil. Then we get into the, back in late 90s, early 2000s, we always said 30 weight oil in our service manual.
Yeah, that's right.
But the guy says, I don't have 30 weight, I have 40 weight. Why can't I use that? Well, then it dawned on us, it doesn't matter. Motor oil is motor oil. So that's why the change came from the motor
it works
oil.
either way.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other war stories?
None that I can really tell you.
We're going to have an episode, I think, called Wheels of Shame.
Oh, yes.
Or the Hall of Shame. I don't know what we're going to call it.
The pallet of shame.
The pallet of shame. But we have in the back room of our office, we have a pallet of wheels that are memorably bad, that were turned in, that were given to us by customers,
Yes.
asking for a warranty return. And they were so dramatically bad, poorly maintained. Pick one of those, and why don't you tell me about it?
Oh, the whole rim flange was caved in from probably about 3 of the handhole areas from one end to the other. Big old dent. So we called the customer and said, it was an impact hit. You hit something. I did not. I hit a pothole. That's it. Your wheel is so bad that I hit a little pothole and it caused this much damage.
I hit a little pothole.
A little pothole. Lo and behold, after talking to the rest of the company, he had a bridge abutment. But he claimed it was a little pothole. So, I mean, it was a huge dent.
We're going to have to get back there and pull that pallet out and show our listeners some of these wheels. And the thing is that I'm hoping we can have some lessons from them. I mean, of course, you're not better than don't hit a bridge abutment. That one might be a little bit obvious.
Yeah, but you get them A for effort for trying for warranty, right?
But the thing is that we've got to sort of that wheel of shame, those wheels are actually, if I remember right, and it's been a while since I've taken a look at them, but there's things we can learn from them.
Every wheel that comes in for warranty has a story, and you can learn something from it. So that's the great part about our warranty program. We study the wheel, try to figure out what happened, how to help that customer, how to fix a problem if you can see it, or maybe they just got the wrong wheel. They spec'd out the wrong wheel. They need to be in severe service or whatever the case may be. But every wheel will tell you a story. It's like doing a scrap analysis. It's what it really is.
Yeah.
And you're just basically taking it, instead of being a tire and figuring it out, we're taking a wheel and trying to figure out what went wrong. Now, is it a customer? Is it maintenance? Or was it us?
Right.
And
right. I mean, we every company has their share of things that don't go perfectly.
Right.
Typically a bolt hole is going to be 26 millimeters, which is a little bit more than an inch, just a fraction more than an inch. I saw one, if I remember right, the bolt holes were elongated to like 3 inches.
We called that the stylized Peterbilt bolt hole. Like this over there. That's how big they were.
And I don't know how you can drive with that. I don't know
how you don't feel that rocking or whatever.
Exactly. Your vehicle is not riding right in that kind of environment. And
right.
So that by itself is a lesson, right? If the ride is bad, probably the first thing you should be taking a look at, are your tires mounted properly? I know that one of the big things that I saw when I was, and most of my life was out in China, right?
Yep.
I just could not get customers to lube the tire, the tire bead seat, the bead seat of the wheel where the tire sits on both sides. So there's 4 locations that they needed to lubricate, both tire bead seats and both wheel bead seats.
Correct.
I could not get them to do it, and they could not understand why their tires wouldn't mount properly.
Getting bead seed concentricity.
That's exactly what would happen. They'd put the tire on, and they're used to steel wheels, right? Where that whole surface is painted. Everything slips and slides across it real nice and easy. No problems. We have a machined surface on that wheel, right?
In the drop center.
In the drop center and the bead
15-degree drop center.
Yeah, that 15-degree drop center. And so if you look at it, you run your fingers across it, you can feel the roughness, and that roughness is going to catch that tire. That tire is not going to go on there, and we don't paint that surface. That's just as machined, right? And so what happens is when they're mounting the tire, it gets caught up on there. The tire is not concentric anymore. And you can look at the rib. There's a rib that runs.
We call it a GG ring.
The GG ring, thank you.
Yep.
And so you've got that rib, the GG ring that goes along, and you can see, and so long as that's somewhat, pretty
symmetrical,
pretty
all the way
symmetrical,
around.
a couple of millimeters, and I apologize, I'm speaking metric. So long as you see that consistent couple, 2, 3, 4 millimeters, that's typically 2 or 3 millimeters all the way around, you're good. No problems. But when they don't lube the tire, or they only lube the tire and they don't lube the wheel or something like this, the next thing you know, you're looking at that and it's all over the place.
It's like dips and waves.
Yeah,
that's all you see.
And then they wonder why what is this? What's wrong? Your wheel is out of round.
Why do I have a balance? Why do I have vibration?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you go and talk to them, you explain to them. And I'll tell you what happened to me, and I don't know if this ever happened to you, but it's like, but that's going to take more time. I don't want to do that. This is a Chinese guy I'm dealing with, but he would not do it. You guys have to fix your wheels. You've got, you have to make your wheels, just paint them, do something. But I don't want to have to do extra work. I was talking to a wall trying to get him to do the right thing.
Yeah, 30 seconds, all it probably would take. Hey.
Thank you, Chuck. This has been a great discussion.
Okay, Mike.
I'm going to have you back sometime, and we'll just sort of shoot the breeze.
That works.
If anything of interest comes up, let me know, and we can get you on.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
Sponsored by Alcoa Wheels, the global leader in aluminum wheel innovation, manufacturing, and technology. Inventing the first forged aluminum wheel in 1948, its team of experts continue to develop the most lightweight, efficient, and high-performing commercial vehicle aluminum wheel products. Bringing you revolutionary innovations like Alcoa DuraBrite wheels, Alcoa DuraBlack wheels, the new Alcoa Wheels hubboard technology, and the lightest truck wheel on the market, Alcoa Ultra One 22.5 by 8.25 wheel. Alcoa Wheels, the global leader in aluminum wheel innovation.